Hello everybody and welcome to the face reading of the people in the news. For those of you who are with me today for the first time, if you get interested in the subject of face reading, you can watch my YouTube's Face Reading Introduction and Face Reading 101 Part 1 Part 2. You can also buy my book Face Reading Secrets for Successful Relationships. It is available on Amazon.com. Today we'll be talking about Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon.com, the richest man in the world. I was not planning to do a reading on him, but a week ago I happened to turn TV on, and there he was being interviewed on German television. I don't remember what channel it was. And not only I found his face interesting, but I was impressed by one part of his personal story. Here he is, Jeff Bezos. He told the story of how his, I believe, grandfather would ask him to help him around the ranch when Jeff was 4 years old. They lived in Texas then. He looked something like this. And Jeff recalled that his grandfather went out of his way to tell him how incredibly helpful Jeff was, and how without his help, his grandpa absolutely could not do the job. And Jeff said that he totally believed his grandfather, and eventually he actually became quite helpful. This story reminded me of another story that inspired me to develop a whole technique called programming your subconscious mind for success. I have a couple of YouTubes on this subject. And the inspirational story was that of Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all times. I heard him being interviewed, and the interviewer said, "Michael, how can it be that you throw the ball and it goes right into the hoop, no matter where you are standing, no matter who is blocking you. Even if you are with your back to the hoop, you still throw it and it goes right in. What's the magic?" And Michael said, "Well, when I was 4 years old," remember 4, magic number, "my father bought me a basketball. He made a hoop from a wire and came close to me and I said, 'Mikey, throw the ball.' And I threw the ball. And he caught it, and then again, and again, and again. By the time I actually saw a real court, in my mind, I did not have a concept that the ball could actually go not into the hoop. So do you see what I see? What I see, both Michael and Jeff had their brain wired. You are Mr. Success. So let us now go back to Jeff Bezos and see if there was something in his morphology, and that's our interest, that made him predisposed to success and or to receiving this positive reinforcement. First, Jeff's personality, of course embodied in the shape of his face. It is clearly a sun, which tells us that this man is not needy. He does not do things to conquer, to prove himself, or to seduce you. Though sociable and great company, if not invited, he's just fine. Out of sight, out of mind is how he operates. He's naturally detached, aloof, and distant, and often mistakenly perceived as arrogant. But he's not arrogant. He's simply comfortable being on his own. He forms few close relationships and is very choosy whom he picks as friends or as partners. As any son, he is a good learner, but unless asked, he does not share his ideas readily. People like to be around him because he does not impose his ideas on anyone. He usually knows more than he says. People with the sun personality can work their entire life on one course, scientific, monetary, or whatever that course may be, and feel good about the choice they make, regardless of what other people think about them. Jeff's mind is analytical. Like Mercury, he's capable of both having original creative ideas on his own or see old ideas in a new way. Let us now look at some of the features on his face. One feature that is very important, I believe, to his success is this one. Look at the place where his mouth closes. The lip line continuous. That line means what we call executive power, the ability to persevere and to make things happen. Many people have good ideas. They get excited, they have few positive visions, fantasize, maybe even share with other people with their ideas, and then they just don't follow through. Sometimes because of real or imaginary obstacles, and sometimes simply because of limiting beliefs. Not this guy. He thinks, has a vision, and does everything to make his vision into a reality. There is a number of people, in fact, whose faces I read who have the same feature. Here are some of them. Jennifer Doudna, professor of biochemistry and molecular biology at Berkeley, California, a brilliant researcher. Of course, she's the head of a research team. Look at this one, Justin Bieber, the same line along the lips. Donald Trump, you see the lines? Ellen DeGeneres. All those people who are able to turn ideas into action. Another feature that stands out on Jeff's face is this one, the right eye. As you can see, it's slightly closed. And we see 20 years ago the same. And even when he was really young, there was something that he had difficulties to see. Remember, the left side is associated with the past and the right side with the present and the potential for the future. All through the years, Jeff had difficulties looking of whatever it was and whatever it is in the present or the future. I can tell you the fact, but I don't know what it was or what it is that is concerning him about the future or the present. Look at his nose. It looks like a beak, a bird's beak. It means sensitivity and emotionality. So, though his temperament, which we'll talk about later, is usually neither sensitive nor emotional, this feature overrides that quality, and Jeff is uncharacteristically sensitive. The earlobe going down diagonally is a sign of great emotional tension, which usually goes with sensitivity. A cleft on the chin is a sign of feelings of self-importance. It's interesting that at a younger age, he did not seem to have this feature. At least I don't see it. So perhaps this feeling of self-importance came to him as he was growing up. And of course, his morphology followed the inner changes. Now let's look at his temperament. The innate qualities Jeff Bezos came into this world with. The temperament, as you know, is embodied in the form of our profile. We can see clearly that he is definitely bilious. See, the corner of the jaw is not too far from the ear, and the jaw goes down under 45 degrees angle. And you can definitely see, you can make a straight line between his forehead and the chin. All three characteristics tell us that he is bilious. But is he a pure bilious? No. There is something else we can see there. Can you see it? Yeah, the nervous cast. Here on this picture, it's easier to see the nervous cast. Here on this picture, you have the bilious, three characteristics, the corner of the jaw, the chin, and the forehead on the same level. So let's summarize now. We have a sun personality of an in-depth researcher who does not need others for approval and who is happy to do his own thing without getting distracted by onlookers. A man who is very choosy of who he chooses as partners and friends. A man who is highly independent, look at the large ears turned forward, and has a feeling of self-importance. But this feeling of self-importance is not an empty bubble, but is supported by the ability to make things happen, the line along the lips. Temperamentally, as a bilious, he is willful, organized, probably a workaholic, who needs little rest and thrives on having challenges to overcome. He is a natural leader, though does not need the accolades of the leadership, only order clear boundaries, and keeping things clear and simple. The nervous cast adds to his qualities great creativity, intuition, flexibility that usually lacks in a pure bilious. Also willingness to take risks and explore all possibilities. Add all this together, combined with the conditioning for success that Jeff received from his grandfather at a younger age, and you have a man whose wealth is estimated to be $130 billion, the first to break 100 billion marks, the richest man on the planet. And that is all for Jeff Bezos. Please click subscribe if you want to be informed when I make a new posting. Thank you for being with me today. Peace to all who want to live in peace.